traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We brought you, or re-brought you, the story of Mina Svard earlier in the week because the former Swedish collegiate 400-meter hurdler wrote a piece in the Wall Street Journal reminding people that she was the first high-profile woman to have a championship title taken away from her by a man pretending to be a woman in the 400-meter hurdles in the NCAA division, I think it was NCAA championship.
Yeah, it was, and those
Division
hurdles
II athlete
are 4 inches shorter than the men's hurdles.
The C.C. Telfer, the man who beat her, wrote a book, profiled in the New York Times. She wrote in the Wall Street Journal, I don't expect I'll ever be profiled in a fawning magazine feature, but I did accomplish one thing that will always fill me with pride. In 2019, I was the fastest 400-meter hurdler at any NCAA Division II school. It's been 5 years since that honor was stolen from me, and I want it back. The Swedes are coming for their honors. Mina Svard went on Fox to talk to Bill Helmer to provide more color on this.
No one is trying to eradicate them. The only thing we want is fairness for us women. We are the ones that are having to go through being treated unfairly within our sports. I don't understand why anyone else's feelings, why we as women have to suppress our feelings to make other people feel better. That's not okay.
Yeah,
we have been quiet for long enough with the NCAA keeping us silent and bullying us to staying silent and being okay with the situation that they have created. So no, it's time for us to speak up and actually tell people about how we feel and what we've been going through. I don't know how it ends. All I know is that I have found great support and a great community in the Independence Council of Women's Sports. So at this point, I'm leaning towards them, and I want to do whatever I can in the lawsuits for Riley Gaines and all the other female athletes that are brave enough to actually go through with this and to push this issue forward. So yeah, I just want to keep fighting with them and stand by their side and show my support, because females, we do deserve to, compete at a level playing field and to get the same opportunities as men.
Yeah, it's a fairly commonsensical position that's been argued for a long time, and it seems to be gaining more favor finally. As I said, I think Trump has moved the Overton window on this issue and other cultural issues. For more on the topic of the cultural issues, pleased to be joined again by Lionel Shriver, best-selling author and columnist. Her most recent book, Mania, a novel. Lionel Shriver, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Always nice to talk to you, Dan.
So where do you think the quote-unquote culture wars are now, the issues of race and gender identity?
I think we're winning, if I may presume to include us in the same camp.
Mm-hmm.
But it's tempting to jump the gun and assume that common sense is prevailing and all that nonsense is behind us. I know I tend to just leap to the conclusion that, well, thank goodness, reason has returned and we're okay. And what was that about? I think the whole forces of wokeism are in retreat. They're on the defensive. But all the people who have been profiting off of this hysterical perspective are still in positions of power. And that's across institutions, and we know what they are: the universities, the charities, the foundations, museum boards, and not to mention the media. They haven't changed their mind about most of this stuff. And, on the whole business of men competing in women's sports, for example, that's still going to be quite a fight, and some of this stuff is going to end up in the courts, as everything Trump is doing is bound to. I mean, I'm very interested in how this era we've just lived through, and I fear is not quite over, how it's going to be viewed historically. Maybe it will be forgotten altogether, because lots of things are. But nevertheless, I have a feeling that if this era is remembered, it's going to be looked back on as one big mania. And that's why my last book is titled Mania, because we've been going through a perpetual cycle of social hysteria on one issue after another.
Well,
careening. Careening from.
I think it's going to be seen as a kind of collective insanity, and the people who have been arguing against this stuff, as I have for close to 10 years, and I have plenty of admirable company on that front. We're going to be the ones who look like the sane people, and the opposition is going to look nuts.
Well, as we've careened from one moral panic to the other, most have been identitarian related, but not all. I guess it became a sort of identity. I mean, COVID is the big outlier, and of course, because these moral panics bookend COVID, because I think we're still very much in an identitarian one, because they bookend COVID. I don't think that this period will be forgotten just because of COVID itself, and then you're going to look at the contextual factors, and all these identitarian moral panics are the context.
Right. I mean, COVID, for example, you won't be able to recall it historically without remembering what happened with the Black Lives Matter movement after the George Floyd killing. So, that's of a piece, and I think that it has had the movement as a whole has had such an enormous effect on education and on the arts. I'm ashamed to say that I have a feeling it will at least be a blip, a small chapter in the history books. The thing is that when shameful things happen to your own culture, you often play them down. And I believe this is a shameful thing. This has been a period when everyone got with the program. They parroted a lot of nonsense. They said exactly what they were supposed to. It has been an era of mass conformity, and if not conformity, then complicit silence.
So today, Colombia has, until today, to ban masks and clamp down on anti-Israel protests. 400 million hangs in the balance there. And then the Trump administration is pausing 175 million in federal funding to University of Pennsylvania over its transgender athletic policies. Do you think the money is going to persuade them to stop this?
I think it's the best way to manipulate them, yes. I mean, what do they care about? What do most institutions care about? I think that the money is going to have to precede a change of heart, because the change of heart is going to be very difficult to accomplish. Some of these people are just going to be waiting out the Trump era. Like, oh, Trump can only be president for 4 years, and then on the other side of it, we can go back to being lunatics again.
Exactly, which is why I don't think there should be a carrot and stick. It should just be the stick. Just strip the money for prior bad acts, and the belief that the bad acts will continue, the beatings will continue until morale improves on the campus of Columbia. So I don't like that approach. I mean, it's better than obviously formally subsidizing it, but you're informally subsidizing because you're not changing these people. That's why I thought that your piece in The Spectator, where you sort of ask the question of yourself, am I a culture war addict? I thought it was good because I think because people are just coming to this or feeling like they're comfortable coming to some of these issues and speaking out without the fear of immediate reprisals, even from some of these institutions that are controlled by the same people. People are already starting, boy, am I spending too much time on this? I'm a little war weary from these cultural from this cultural combat. I mean, for goodness sakes, we just started. I mean, the reason that we got to this place of lunacy that you're describing is because so many people were spectators and were cowered into silence. I mean, the fight is just now starting. It is not nearing its conclusion.
Yes, and I think you're quite right that the vast bulk of people who were even paying attention allowed this to happen. It was led by a very small number of people, a shrill minority, but nobody shut them up, and they were allowed to run rampant. And this whole phenomenon I find very distressing because it shows how societies go insane, especially post-COVID. When whole countries decided that they would abdicate every civil right they'd ever had, literally overnight, I've come to the conclusion that you can get large groups of people to believe practically anything, as long as you convince them that everyone else thinks that too.
Yep, that perfectly defines COVID.
And what's your? I mean, I know that you moved in the not too distant past from the UK to Portugal. What's your handle on what's happening in Western Europe? Are we starting? I mean, are we seeing any sort of retrenchment going on there, like we're seeing? I mean, maybe not to the extent, of course, with Trump, but any sort of retrenchment in the direction that you see America going?
I think both the UK and Europe are behind the U.S. in getting a grip. Of course, the biggest issue that faces Europe and what is dividing the populace is that of immigration, both legal and illegal. And in Europe, it's often abundantly Muslim immigration, which introduces an extra complicating factor. So there's a religious difference as well as an ethnic one, and that's what's messing up Europe. And it's really beyond the woke business. It's beyond the kind of nitpicking racialist conflicts that we've been having in the U.S. It is very primitive about whether or not the dominant culture survives, because they are bringing in so many people from very different cultures and too fast, so that they don't assimilate, they don't integrate with the mainstream, and so. I think that's what they're caught up in politically much more than men and women's sports, for example.
Lionel Shriver, best-selling author, most recently of Mania, a novel. Lionel, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Always enjoy talking to you.
Yeah, thank you. Have a wonderful weekend. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank that cares about your business and is invested in your success. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.